making replays, but the players are currently playing their games. So we actually had the players start 1 hour before the cast. So they start playing their games, and then as they finish, they give us replays. So even I have no idea what the results will be. And that is excellent. That is fantastic. Wow, I see a lot of mod chatter going on in the stream right now. I do like reading the stream chat while casting. Makes me feel less lonely.
Doesn't it? Yeah, there's something about that that's just... It feels good. It feels good.
Indeed. So, I'm in game, say/1.
Destination. Nom.
Indeed. Oh, by the way, if you're curious about how the maps were decided, there were actually no set maps for the 3rd, 4th place match. The first map was basically both players need to agree on any map from the round of 32 map pool. And I guess both players agreed on Fighting Spirit, since that is a pretty popular map. And then, of course, after that is just loser picks. It's going to be a little bit different from the finals. The first 3 maps are set for that, but I guess we'll get to that once this matchup is over. So, Diggity, are you ready to go into game 2?
I am ready.
Alright, here we go. Going with my little video again. Oh my god! Trevor went down! I heard that engagement. I don't think this is good for Sonny at all. The lurkers. Ace! Trying to do as much damage. He's actually going for the Spore Colony. This mini position by Heme. Again!
I will make you understand.
And here we go into game 2 between Deska and Heme. Heme currently up 1-0 after, I mean, to be honest, what I would say is a rather easy win, just defending a 4-pool or 5-pool. I still don't know, whatever. Defending a 5-pool, I think it was a 5-pool, and gaining a huge advantage like that. But anyway, in the top position as the red Zerg, we do have Deska, and in the bottom we have the blue Terran, Heme, on Destination.
Should be another good long macro game. I'm not, unless we see another 5-pool, which I assume we're not going to see in a second match, although I am going to keep my mouse hovering over Deska's base, just in case we see some modification. 2-player map, two base style of play map, and honestly, this tends to be a absolute Terran haven. But I have to give it to Deska. Last match, even though he opened up 5-pool and even though it failed miserably, he kept that match going for quite a ways, which I did not expect. I was expecting him to just get completely run over, but he was able to extend it and make somewhat a fight out of it.
Indeed. Trying to follow up with the Lurker drop. Managing to do some damage, but not quite enough. Now, the interesting thing about Destination is because of all the narrow bridges on the map, people generally consider Bio, Medic Marine play, to be less effective than Mech. So the standard actually on Destination is for Terran to go for mech play or possibly, some kind of techie, drops or 2-port wraiths or basically a non-standard bio play, which I'm really excited to see because I do enjoy seeing a well-executed Terran mech. And it looks like we do have a overpool.
9-pool.
Sorry,
overpool.
Or no.
No, I think you're right, overpool. There's an overlord in production.
It was an overpool.
And I missed it, and also a cancellation to get the additional drone. Very odd opening. I'm used to seeing 12 hatches on this map exclusively, just because you know that the Terran's going to go for that backdoor wall in, sort of exactly like we're seeing that executing now. It's also a wider map, so on top of that, Zerglings, all early Zerglings really do for you is cut off a bit of scouting information. And even then, it's not absolutely guaranteed. So I'm kind of curious why Deska decided to open up with an overpool rather than the standard 12 hatch on this map. Perhaps he didn't want to have to deal with some of the shenanigans that happen around that corner, or maybe even the possibility of the open mineral wall, or some of that other action. It looks like there is a blockaded engineering bay, however.
Indeed.
And it looks like he didn't even scout. So it looks like just a hatchery going to be placed alongside to get that. So I assume we're going to see a 3-hatchery build open.
Yep, indeed, it will be a 3-hatch build. Deska, seeing that, he knows the drone won't really be able to deal with that in a timely fashion, so he just says, okay, whatever, I'll just place an off-placed hatchery. Now, this is, of course, an investment for the Terran anyway. That is 125 minerals sunk into that, so it's not like it's it is hurting the Terran a little bit as well. And, of course, we do see a Ling-proof wall in here at the front, which is pretty standard when you're going for mech, as we see he is. There's the factory already started. Now, there are 2 Lings already going towards the Terran base. I'm surprised he actually only... Okay, it looks like he actually made 4 Lings. His 1 chasing the SCV, 1 attacking this engineering bay, and then 2 just checking out the front of the Terran base. They won't really see anything, though. However, seeing that there is a wall here, he'll probably assume either mech or some kind of fast starport play, since usually if Terran goes for bio, they build the barracks closer to their command center.
What I really like, though, is the placement of this factory, because with that single overlord at its position, it's going to be very difficult for Deska to walk up and scout, and this is the critical moment where he actually needs to get the scouting information to know how to react to this build. If he sees mech, he needs to either get a bunch of troops out rapidly or expand rather than going for the standard anti-bio play. But at this stage, he doesn't know precisely what's happening, and this is going to give an opportunity for Heme to basically take I almost want to call an information lead. When he fields these forces, Deska might be prepared for it, but it's not guaranteed that he will be. And currently, let's see if he gets enough troops, or even, it looks like he is taking the lair, but let's see if he goes for the standard anti-bio play, or even some of the open mutal play, or if he ends up just running headlong into the classic Zerg mech problem.
But I'm really confused at this command center positioning. He's placed it on the far north edge of this base. I mean, if he's going to float it to the natural, I would have expected it to be slightly closer. Although, I mean, this could be to avoid getting scouted by the Overlord, but still, I don't think I've ever seen a placement like this. And do note that he is currently mining gas with only 2 SCVs. I'm pretty sure that that's intentional, seeing as he's going for Vultures and the expansion. What upgrade is that? That is, in fact, Vulture Speed and producing more Vultures. So he is going to go for Speed, Vulture opening, possibly a Rumbai. If Deska sees this, he'll probably want to throw down like a Den or an Evo Chamber in that little gap to the left of the natural hatchery, just to wall that off a little bit better. He does already have a sunken at the front, though, so he should be able to defend any vultures as long as he blocks them correctly.
This is a very interesting build. So showing mech to open, this kind of puts Deska in an awkward situation where the spider mines are going to reduce a lot of mobility across that midfield. The vultures can scout very easily because they're very rapid. They can be everywhere at once, essentially. He has to really pin down his natural expansion. It's going to delay that third base, but at the same time, you have that factory out. And that creates the dual problem where he wants to run out and expand, but has difficulty because the vulture's out in the field, and then he has to worry about, okay, well, the vultures are out there, I know this is mech, I need to build a lot of troops. And then basically what this is doing is this is forcing a mold build for Deska. He's going to have to go for the onslaught troop route rather than the large expand route, and I really like this play from Heme.
Indeed, but we do see an SCV in the back of Deska's natural. I think he's going to mine out the back minerals, and I don't know what Deska can do to stop this. I don't think he's even going to see this. He doesn't have an Overlord in the correct position. He is throwing down an Evolution Chamber to wall that off against Vulture Rumbais. Vulture Speed did actually finish. Oh no, it looks like he's not going to mine down. He's going to try and glitch the Vulture through using the SCV. Basically what happens is you put the Vulture right next to the minerals, you send the SCV to mine, and then you hit stop, and then you basically just kind of spam right-click and try and push your Vulture through the minerals. It's quite hard to execute. I don't think I've ever seen this. I think it's probably even harder to do from the bottom of a ramp like this since you don't have vision. But it looks like Hydras and Lings are actually pushing out the front. There were 2 Speed Vultures kind of chilling out there. They will see the attack coming. Is he getting mines? No, he's actually getting... Does mine finish already?
Mine's already researched.
Okay,
Actually, you have one in the middle of the ramp
yes,
there.
of course. There are mines on the map. So he should be fine against any kind of Hydra attack. And it looks like...
Speed Overlord, though. Nice. Good anticipation. Has the Speed Overlords to deal with the mines with those Hydras out in the field. He's retaken map control. I think it's unfortunate with that mineral field. It's almost necessitated that he open it up now to at least risk an attack. And the Hydra is easily able to take out the mines in open field. Looks like that natural expansion up and running. You're right, that was really odd. That was extremely odd positioning. And now Heme needs to do whatever he can just to throw vultures out in the field just to try and just hope that there's a bait down on them where really... It's kind of the reverse problem now. Now the Hydras is out in the field, Overlords with nice coverage. Yes, 2 bases up, but that 2 base really well defended. You have Deska just free to attack.
And actually, there's almost no defense here. There's only 2 Marines in a bunker and a single Goliath. Of course, mass repair on the bunker is quite good. But actually, I don't know. If Deska had actually sent all those forces, like you see these 2 Lings and 2 Hydras at the top left, I think if he sent those along with the main force to bust the natural, he probably could have killed Heme right there, but he just didn't realize it. Played a little bit safe. Oh, very nice move here at the top left. There was a Vulture there, tried to snipe this drone before it could build a hatchery, but to prevent that, the drone actually turned into an extractor and then canceled itself after the Hydras dealt with that Vulture, so very nice little trick right there.
On top of that, we have drop upgrading, and this is turning into a difficult situation for Heme. He has SCVs that are just idling, waiting to repair that bunker. He still doesn't have siege check, but even when he does, keep in mind, usually when you open mech like this, you get a ton of overlords out rather than opening vulture, and this is almost showing a weakness in this style of build. I was hoping it would pay off and be interesting, but unfortunately not. He's going to be low on those. The big power of the factory build is you get a huge amount of very powerful troops, and then you have kind of that rollover factor where you have so many siege tanks and so many Goliaths that it doesn't matter how many units that the Zerg throws at it, you just can't break it. Unfortunately now, he has a drop incoming. He doesn't have the raw amount of siege tanks or Goliaths because he opened up Vulture, and he's in trouble. He doesn't have map control. He has drop that's going to be incoming, and that has always been a weakness of mech, and you always need a large amount of Goliaths out to deal with it. But now with only a single factory, he's being forced to loop back to basically infantry play, getting some medic and marines out.
However, I really like this because basically Deska is like he assumes that Heme's going to commit and go with mech, which of course, as I said before, is the standard on this map. But when he's confronted with his medic marine, pure Hydras is terrible against medic marine, especially since he's actually getting the +1 armor before +1 attack. Because if you're not aware, in Brood War there's actually damage types. Hydralisks do explosive damage, and Marines are small units, so Hydras will actually only do 50% of their normal damage to Marines, so it's only 5 damage, and of course then you have the extra armor from Marines, so the Hydras will really do nothing against this Bioforce. But here comes the drop into the main. 5 Overlords with Hydralisks in them. They will be greeted by a group and a half of Medic Marine and a tank. Let's see if it's going to be enough. The tank sieges up in a good location. One turret goes down, the factory is under attack. And now Deska knows what's up. He's probably quite shocked at this. He sees a bunch of Medic Marine. He knows the Hydras aren't going to be good. I'm pretty sure. Well, actually, it looks like the Hydras are cleaning up. There's just way too many Hydralisks. So even though Medic Marine are pretty good against Hydras, there were just too many. The Siege Tank goes down. The Medic Marine are all going down. Deska might just take this with a 5 Overlord Hydra drop. I cannot believe what I'm seeing.
I'm pretty sure, actually, I'm not positive on the explosive type. I'll have to look it up on Hydralist, but the critical thing there was level 1 weapons, perfect timing. This was a really well-crafted build for Deska. He's going to lose the rest of this drop, but he's actually done a lot of damage, specifically in just mutilating that unit count, just flat out, and also establishing additional bases. You can see he's already got that 3 o'clock base up, doesn't have it quite running yet, but has absolute map control. 4 bases versus 2. He's got all sorts of gas out. He was able to whittle that force, also get out with those Hydralisks. He is sitting pretty.
Indeed, I think that was actually a really smart move, saving about half of the Hydralisks from that drop and pulling them out. He just started his Lurker research. He knows that in order to combat the Medic Marine in large number, he will need Lurkers and not just Hydras. And I think actually this 4 base, seeing that, we have a bit of an engagement right here, but of course the taking of the quick 2 or the quick 4 bases was a response to mech. That is exactly what you want to do when you play against mech. You need a lot of bases, a lot of units. However, against the bio play, I think it's a little bit weird. This is a very strange situation, I think, for both players. So now we have quite a few Hydralisks, which will probably try and become Lurkers as soon as possible. Do note, though, that Hydra Lurker is in fact a very, very strong mid-game unit composition. In fact, Hydra Lurk used to be quite a popular strategy before players started going for the really fast Hive and Defiler play. So I'm excited to see Hydra Lurk play once again.
Yeah, should be really entertaining. It looks like we have a couple siege tanks just trying to step forward, trying to clear out that 3 o'clock base. While you were speaking, I was looking up. You're correct. Hydralisks are, in fact, explosive damage. Wanted to make sure I was like, wait, is that explosive or concussive? So very, very correct. They do maximum damage versus large units. But we have a Queen's Nest already in production, well on the way to Hive. A lot of units to, I feel like, cope with what is a pithy, or sorry, not a pithy. That's the wrong pronunciation. The attack force of Heme is not pithy. It is not significant. It is not very threatening currently, especially with all these Hydralisks being pushed forward, Lurkers morphing as well, and some nice upgrades to back them up. Level 1 Carapace and level 2 weapons should be finished momentarily.
Indeed, and actually